When everything you thought was true starts to crumble, where do you stand? What if the very fabric of shared reality is quietly, imperceptibly coming apart? Not long ago, we had a pretty good idea of what truth meant. Facts were facts, experts were experts, news was news. But something shifted. In 2016, Oxford dictionaries chose post-truth as their word of the year, not just as a trendy phrase, but as a stark warning. It signaled a concerning turn in our society, a world where objective facts seem to hold less sway than emotions and personal beliefs, where what feels true often overrides what is true. This isn't just about a few wrong ideas. It's linked to something far more fundamental, an epistemic crisis, a breakdown in how we know what we know. This isn't just a challenge to our understanding. It's a direct threat to the very foundations of knowledge and our ability to make sense of the world, let alone make informed decisions that shape our future. But how did we get here? And more importantly, what can we do to find our way back? At the heart of this post-truth era is a deep erosion of trust. Think about it. The institutions we once relied on for impartial information, science, journalism, even the opinions of verified experts, now face unprecedented skepticism. It's like a slow leak in the dam of collective knowledge. This wasn't a sudden collapse, but rather a gradual weakening, amplified dramatically by the digital revolution. The rise of social media, in particular, has acted like a super spreader event for this phenomenon. Platforms designed to connect us have, paradoxically, often led to profound divisions, creating what we now call echo chambers, digital spaces where we primarily encounter information and opinions that reinforce our existing views. Imagine living in a house with only one window, and that window only shows you one specific view. That's an echo chamber. Inside, our beliefs are constantly affirmed, making it harder to even consider alternative perspectives. This environment becomes fertile ground for misinformation, inaccurate information, spread without malicious intent, and disinformation, deliberately false or misleading information designed to deceive. We all, sometimes unknowingly, contribute to this by selectively consuming and sharing information that confirms what we already believe. It's human nature to seek out agreement, but when this tendency becomes unchecked, it reinforces our biases, locking us into personal belief systems, often regardless of their factual accuracy. It's less about what is true and more about what feels right to us. The result is a deeply fragmented reality where different groups of people live in entirely different informational worlds. What one person considers a foundational truth, another views as a baseless conspiracy. These differing viewpoints aren't just disagreements. They're often perceived as hostile, as direct attacks on one's identity or values. Opposing narratives gain traction not because they are inherently more factual, but because they resonate emotionally, because they tap into existing fears, hopes, and resentments. It's a landscape where facts become negotiable and reality itself feels up for grabs. The consequences of living in such a fragmented reality are far-reaching and, frankly, quite chilling. Our public discourse is undermined, making it incredibly difficult to reach any kind of consensus on crucial issues that affect everyone. Consider the debates around climate change, healthcare reform, or even the integrity of political elections. When basic facts are disputed, meaningful dialogue becomes impossible. Instead of engaging with evidence-based reasoning, conversations often devolve into emotional appeals and personal narratives. "I feel this way," or "this happened to someone I know," carries more weight than scientific data or expert analysis. This prioritization of emotion over evidence leads to societal fragmentation, fueling polarization and obstructing rational debate. We stop talking to each other and start talking past each other. This environment is ripe for exploitation, especially by political actors. The manipulation of public opinion becomes easier when people are more susceptible to emotional triggers and less discerning about factual accuracy. This can lead to the undermining of democratic institutions as trust in the process itself erodes. When elections are portrayed as fraudulent without credible evidence, or when policy decisions are framed as existential threats to a specific group, the foundations of democratic governance begin to crack. The spread of harmful content, fake news, and propaganda is tailored precisely to these emotional responses. It distorts public perceptions, creating a haze of uncertainty, and further erodes trust in legitimate authorities, whether they are government agencies, public health organizations, or educational bodies. When people can't agree on what's real, they can't agree on how to fix things. What we're really grappling with here is more than just a crisis of information. It's fundamentally a crisis of belief. It's not just that we have too much information, or even too much false information. It's that the very mechanisms by which we acquire, evaluate, and disseminate knowledge have broken down. We've lost our collective compass for navigating truth. This epistemic crisis, this breakdown in how we know things, has far-reaching societal impacts. It affects our understanding of the world, making it harder to grasp complex systems or appreciate diverse perspectives. More critically, it cripples our ability to address complex challenges effectively. How do you solve climate change when people deny its existence? How do you tackle a pandemic when people reject medical science? When the fundamental agreement on what constitutes knowing disappears, collective action becomes a distant dream. We are, quite literally, losing our ability to reason together. So, how do we climb out of this deepening chasm? It requires a multi-pronged approach, a collective effort to rebuild what has been eroded. Education is a crucial starting point. We need to prioritize critical thinking skills from a young age, teaching individuals not just what to think, but how to think. This means empowering them to evaluate information critically, to identify biases, both their own and those in the content they consume. Think of it as teaching mental self-defense in an age of information overload. Alongside this, media literacy initiatives are essential. We need to equip citizens with the tools to navigate our increasingly complex information landscapes, helping them distinguish credible sources from unreliable ones. This isn't about telling people what to believe, but about giving them the skills to ask the right questions. Who created this? Why was it made? What evidence supports it? Is there another perspective? Rebuilding trust in established institutions like journalism and scientific research is also vital. This isn't easy, but it can be achieved through promoting unwavering transparency and accountability within these institutions. When journalists are open about their methods and potential biases, when scientists clearly communicate their findings and the limitations of their studies, they earn back credibility. It requires a renewed visible commitment to objective truth, and rigorous methodology. Ultimately, we need to cultivate a new societal culture. This isn't something that happens overnight or by government decree. It requires a collective effort to reinstill the value of evidence, to encourage critical inquiry, and to foster open-minded dialogue, even when discussing difficult or uncomfortable topics. It means moving away from the knee-jerk reaction of tribalism and toward a shared commitment to understanding. This collective intellectual honesty is our only path forward. Our ultimate goal must be to safeguard the foundations of knowledge and ensure that future generations can make informed decisions rooted in a shared understanding of reality rather than a fragmented echo of personal biases. The challenge is immense, but the stakes, our collective future, are even greater.